What's up? My name is Liam Wild, and this is Wild Stories, and I'm doing this in my car after a work day. Today's wild story, it's going to be a couple of them. I'm going to be kind of rambling a little bit, but it's all about the hard times. The hard times are what get us better. I'm a firm believer that if you don't go through hard times, you're staying stagnant. You're not improving. And what is most important about life is that you're doing things that make you happy and make you improve and you see progress. I feel like if you're not feeling progress in your life, it's an easy way to fall into a depression. And I won't say that like I've really been in a severe depression. I know people that are like medically depressed, people that are very close to me, and I think that I'm blessed with fairly good mental health. I have my issues, like I have ADHD, and everyone sometimes feels down some days, but I think that I'm lucky in that regard. But something that's always helped me is the ability to get through hard times and to push myself through things that I want to quit on. Because we've all been there where we wanted to quit, whether it was just in the gym today. You were trying to lift that weight, you're trying to get that PR, and maybe you were like, I don't think I'm going to do it, like halfway through. It was just that negative thought. Or like you're trying to run like that mile and hit your PR or whatever it is. And it just like, you're like, I'm going to quit. I'm gassing out here. Right. But if you just let your brain shut up and you just go for it, that's what is called a breakthrough. And you know what is really amazing about a breakthrough? You get a euphoric experience from a breakthrough. Because that's real progression. When you hit like an outlier that you've never had before, and everything starts making a lot more sense, and then you can see the future goals, that's a crazy feeling. I'm going to talk a little bit about some hard times, and I'm going to start with it professionally. My like profession, what my skill set is definitely in sales. I'll just give a little background on my resume. So my resume really consisted in door-to-door sales, funny enough. As a 15-year-old, me and a couple of my good friends, we knocked on doors, we sold paint quotes. It was funny because one of like the guy that was in university, because it was college pro painters, he knocked on one of my friend's doors and was like, hey, like we're looking to do some paint quotes for people in the neighborhood. Was wondering if you had any painting that needed to be done this spring. And my friend's mom was like, oh, I don't need any painting done, but my son needs a job. So from there, do I have this? Is there a guy like going behind me here? Yeah. Oh, shoot.
You got this?
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, I saw you come over here.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
Isn't that nice? Old feller gave me my my keychain. I dropped it. I gotta be careful, man. Okay, back on it. So my friend was like, okay, I'll do the job. I'll do the door knocking. And mind you, this is like February in Calgary. And he recruited me and my other friend to go do it. And then he actually recruited another friend. So it was about like four, almost five of us that were doing it. And it was so cold. But that was really when I started learning about like rejection. A rejection, why people don't like knocking on doors, because you can make a lot of money in different products and services. Why people don't like it is because rejection. You're going there unannounced and people are going to tell you to fuck off. And people don't like that. And you know what? No one likes that. No one likes getting yelled at or, having the potential of getting bitten by a dog or whatever the case may be. And that's a story for another day. I have been bitten by a dog door knocking. But that was a hard time, but it was fun because I was doing it with my friends, right? But fast forward, I get to door knocking again with TELUS, which is a telecommunication company. And what was hard about that is that I hadn't done really like door-to-door sales in a long time. I had done like door-to-door charity with my football team in university, and there was even lessons in that, but going back to door-to-door, this one was really serious. This wasn't just some friends knocking on doors together, screwing around. This was like, okay, like, I'm fresh out of university. I need money to frickin' survive. I'm living in my parents' basement right now. It's like, okay, fall from grace. This is reality. And I get there, and you have to wear a suit. And I get there, and I wasn't wearing a tie that one day. And one of the guys working there was like, "Where's your tie?" I'm like, "Oh, like, I didn't know I needed one." He's like, "You need one. Bring one tomorrow." Like, I realized, like, oh, shoot, this is really serious. And we were doing boardroom, and they gave us a script, and like, they told me, memorize this script. Okay. And for me, I'm like, okay, well, I need to start learning as fast as possible. So I'm asking a ton of questions. I'm trying to be as diligent as possible so I can ensure that I have success. But mind you, it is Calgary, and this is also February. If you've never been to Calgary in February, it can get as cold as minus 40 degrees Celsius. That's really cold. That'll kill a grown man. And I came in with 2 other people. So we did the boardroom the first day. We're like, holy smokes, lots to learn. And we need to remember this. And here was the reality too, is that it was super cutthroat. So if you did not go and to work like on time, you would lose your paycheck for that week. And it was for the first 6 weeks, you'd get $500 plus half of any commission that you would get. Right? But there would be bonuses depending on how many sales you get. So I'm like, okay, got to be super dialed in. I don't want to miss out on this. But it was so cold. And I remember in boardroom, the owner, who's like, I haven't talked to him in a little while, but a lot of respect for him. And I need to talk to him soon, actually. He's like getting at me, like trying to get me to recite. And like, if I get sent home because I don't know my script, I lose that $500. So, this was moments where like I literally felt my heart beating. And I had gone through lots of hard times in football, but professionally like this was a new thing for me. And then I went out there with the owner to go pitch door to door. And I thought I was like, okay, like I should be fine if I don't wear long johns or whatever. I was just being not smart, to be honest. I should have been smarter. I should have worn long johns and everything, but I was wearing dress pants that were so thin, and I had like Blundstones that weren't really winterized. I was freezing, dude. I was freezing. So cold, and I get back, and I take a warm shower, and I still can't get warm. You know what that means? You're about to get a cold. And that's what happened, man. I had like for the rest of the week, like just a terrible cold where like my nose was just constantly running. I was I was popping the like cold and sinus medication like it was candy, just trying to survive while getting trained. And I ended up knocking on a door, and at that time, me and my friends that we originally started doing door-to-door when I was 15 in Calgary, we were going to plan to go to Palm Springs a little bit later on. And I was like, okay, like, that's something to look forward to. And I remember I knocked on this door and I started pitching, and then she was like, oh, well, we're about to head to Palm Springs. No way, me too. I built rapport right off the beginning. and I started pitching, and it was going pretty well. And I actually got inside the house, and meanwhile, like, I'm just like, because my nose is running like crazy. And my trainer is like looking at me like, dude, what the heck is going on with you? I ended up closing that deal, and it was worth about, I think it was over like, it was what they call a whale. My first deal was a whale. It was like multiple rental properties, the whole shebang, and I made through that week just like so sick, barely getting through that week mentally and physically, but I powered through. And I think that showed my grit, because the other two people that came in my training class, one didn't last past the first day. The other one left after the second. I was the only person left out of my training class, and I stayed there for months. Became a leader in the office, started training other people, and I would have weeks where I was off. It was a full commission rule. That is hard times, man. When you're like really grinding, you're knocking on people's doors, people are being rude to you, and you're not making the money. It's hard to keep a good mindset. But once you do have that like $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 week, that's a breakthrough. And what we always said is that when you're a high roller, when you start hitting those numbers, you have to set out a goal every day when you go out there. And that your best day is your new goal. It has to be your new standard. And that's how I kind of interpret life now, is that every day, like, I have to uphold a standard because of the hard times I went through. I didn't go through those hard times not to uphold a standard and continue to thrive, right? And there will be hard days, and there will be days where I get knocked down. Maybe not literally knocked down or figuratively, but like mentally, I am burnt out. Physically, I'm sore. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the workout. But I know that, I got to be smart, but I got to do it anyways. Because I have to uphold a standard of excellence. Because I know if I continue to uphold that standard of excellence, I will see positive reinforcement in my everyday life. It will just follow me. So that is the mentality I have, that if I pursue hard things, it'll increase my standard, right? My ability to go through hard things. And I'm looking for other hard things to go through. Like, I want to start rock climbing. I saw Alex Honnold climb that tower, and I'm like, that is hard. Let me try to be awful at this for a beginning. And I'm not saying I'll climb a tower with like no rope or anything like that. I'll die probably, right? I don't think I'll ever get as good as him, and I'm perfectly okay with that. But I want to try it. I want to try something hard, right? And I think that's important. Like, every time I take a shower, I'm putting it to cold, right, in the morning, because it's not that it's like it feels good. It's uncomfortable. But if I do these hard things in the beginning of the day, it's like, well, shit, I already did the hard things at the beginning of the day. Like, that makes everything else easier. Everything else gets easier after I've done the hard things. So I'm going to continue to do hard things so things get easier, my standard is upheld, and I can just level up. So I want you guys to keep me accountable. I know that I haven't been super active on like setting reels and stories, but I will be posting this on Friday, so I did not lie. Monday and Friday, I will be posting the wild stories on my YouTube. And keep me accountable if I don't do it, but I'll friggin' do it. That's why I'm doing it in my vehicle right after work. My girlfriend is holding a party with like 20 girls right now in our apartment. And I could be racing over there for the party, but instead I would much rather do this and then go there, because I feel a lot better about myself. Not that speaking for 30 minutes to my phone is easy. It's because it's necessary, because it's a goal that I have set out for myself. It's an objective that needs action. So that's why I'm doing it. Now, to stay on the topic of hard things, My first 3 days of this job have been hard. I was thrown into the fire right away. If you don't know what I just started doing, I now work for an AI incubator. So this company helps founders find success. With my sales skill set, I'm working with founders trying to set up meetings, close deals so they can have success and make sure that their AI, their software, has success. I'm already learning a lot, but I already know that this is definitely not guaranteed. Every day that I go there, I have to scratch and claw for success. Like nothing is going to be given to me. And I think that's the reality of a lot of entrepreneurs. And I feel that I'm in a positive proximity with a lot of people that have started softwares or softwares as a service and AIs, sold them, and done it over again. They've had success doing it. They've coached other people. So being around those people, I'm learning new skills, and it is not easy. I'm learning how to use AI I never even knew existed in one day. Reporting. I did like 100 cold calls today. But repetition, it helps. It's not easy. Like no one wants to do that. I had like one guy have a total meltdown on the phone with me today. And I honestly had like a lot of empathy for him because he hates his life. He hates his life. I'll tell you what he said. He was like, I was like, is this Luke? And he's like, yeah, unfortunately. And I'm like, oh, unfortunately, that's too bad. Like, my name is Liam. I'm calling with, I'm not going to give you the whole pitch. But he's like, if you could create an AI that could stab me in the throat right now, I would love that. And he's like, so never fucking call this phone again. And I just hung up. I was like, this guy's off his rocker. But he is not in a right mental state. Maybe he needs to do hard things. Maybe he's not doing the right hard things. Maybe he's pushing himself in this business. Things aren't going well. And he's not doing the necessary steps that would feel hard to have success. But I don't blame him. He just might not know. And that's the reality, is that not everyone knows that doing hard things is going to elevate them. I'll go through another hard time that I had. And this doesn't have anything to do with professional, my background or anything like that. It has to do with, illness, like a health concern that I had. When I was in university and I was playing football, it was during the COVID year. I had gotten like strep throat or something in my throat. And, I'm saying, oh, strep throat, I grew up, it's not that bad, dude. You're just out of commission for a little bit. Well, this infection got a little worse than just strep throat and actually infected part of my throat and created an abscess. Don't Google abscess unless you want to get grossed the fuck out. So that was in my throat, and then it started growing. And we called the hospital and everything, but because it was COVID times, the reality is that they were like, you need to isolate. They thought it was COVID. And I'm like, it's not COVID. By the time it got really bad, I was like hours away from going septic in my blood and like potentially actually dying. And I hadn't eaten at all because it was in my throat. Like I was in so much pain because it was like pretty much like right in here. So it was like kind of on my my ear, and it was giving me it was turning into kind of like an ear infection, but also in my throat. Like I was like choking on my own spit because of it. I know this is really graphic and I'm sorry, but it was hard for me. I was like feeling like I was dying. This is literally like a near-death experience for me. And I was so sick that I was like, okay, fuck it. Like, I need to just go to the hospital. Like, fuck this isolating BS. And my really good friend, he came and he kind of picked me up and he put me in his car. But at this point, I could not even stand. I'm serious. Like, I couldn't even stand. I was so out of it. I couldn't speak. I was just a total mess. Like, everything was like shaking. It was because this totally messed up my equilibrium in my head, and I was so sick. When we were literally driving to the hospital, I started like puking up like bile on the way there. I was just so sick from like the motion and everything, and I could barely even speak. And when I got there, they put a whole bunch of like steroids and fluids through intravenous, and I just slept. Like, I just like passed out, and I woke up and I did start to feel a little bit better. And when I woke up, they told me that like I'm staying the night in the hospital to keep me stable, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to be transferred over to Halifax, and they're going to do emergency surgery on this abscess in my throat. I'm supposed to have football practice tomorrow. Like, COVID year, we were still practicing. And for me, this was a really important time when I was playing football, because at this time, nothing was for sure for me to start, like to actually play. I was in the position, but nothing was guaranteed. And there's nothing I wanted more than to win that starting spot, because if I lost it and some other guy played, like, it would just be, it would be really tough to win that back, especially if they were playing well, right? And there was a lot of good players. So I knew I was like, I got to bounce back, and I had lost a lot of weight because I was sick. So I was a little nervous about that. I wanted to get back out there. I was eager to, but I needed to also just know that I was going to be okay. And when I got sent to Halifax, they drained it. It was so gross, man. And it was ridiculous how much I was like totally revived right after they did that. Like, totally revived, like nothing had ever happened. They didn't even stitch it up, because they said that the stitches would just break over time, and that in your mouth it actually heals quicker, which I didn't know until that happened. So that was a reality. And then the issue is when I got drained the first time, as good as I did feel, they didn't get all the infection. So for the rest of that like year and a couple of years after, like, really, if it was just for the rest of that year, I would like get these flare-ups of the same infection, and I would have to just take antibiotics, and I was starting to get like immune to these antibiotics. My body was like, so I was taking these antibiotics, feeling disgusting, trying to work out, eat, be a student athlete, but this thing kept on flaring up, and I was just like battling in my mind, like, why me? Why am I going through this hardship? Why is this happening to me? And those were hard times. I was like, that really meant mental fortitude to try to persevere from that. That was really hard for me. And I got David Goggins' book, You Can't Hurt Me. And I remember I started listening to it, and I would just go on a run. I would just go run, and then I'd go into the garage and I'd hit the punching bag. And it just it inspired me to just know that, like, I can't be hurt by this. Like, I am the master of my own mind, and I know that I'll persevere from this as long as I'm smart about it. And I just got to keep my head on straight and can't think too much about why me. Because it's not about that. It's like, God, if you believe in God, gives you a test to prove yourself. And that's what it was about for me. It was about proving that I can get through this hardship. As hard as that may have been. The light in my car just went off, so hopefully my battery isn't dead. But if you made it to the end of this story, thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone that's been following along. And hopefully this helped to inspire you. Follow along, because Monday there's going to be another wild story. It'll all have every single one's going to kind of have a different story behind it, a different meaning. But we're going to unpack them and we're going to grow together. All right. I love you all. See you Monday.